Well, Valerie, I thought I would try to give you a little bit of personal touch here. You know, as the class comes to an end, I certainly hope you can find some other classes of mine to take. I really appreciate our dialogue, right? So I'm looking at your email here, and I have looked at your paper, and you're an excellent writer, okay? And you did end up doing exactly what I wanted you to do the first time, okay? And I've always taught research writing. I used to teach a class called Everything is an Argument, and it did have a brilliant textbook, by the way. And it's not so much, and this is hard for many students, although it's mostly 18-year-olds don't get this, right? They think of an argument as a fight, fight with their boyfriend or a fight with their parents. The issue is that all the time somebody's actually arguing with you. Billboards are arguing with you. Retail shops at the mall are arguing with you. Of course, politicians are arguing with you all the time. And they're trying to get you to do something. Everything, billboards trying to get you to buy that product. You walk into the stores, even the smells are arguing with you. I used to love to walk into Nordstrom's, particularly in the men's department, because all the leather wallets are out. It smelled so good, and that was causing you to want to buy something. So they're arguing with you. You should buy this, And the textbook I was using at the time had some beautiful illustrations of stained glass windows. The stained glass window is presenting an argument. And I had one student say, that's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. Okay, well, but think about it. A stained glass window is a piece of art, right? It's a piece of beauty, and there's often, not all stained glass windows, but many of them have pictures in them. They're depicting a religious scene or some kind of scene. And basically the artist at that point is presenting you with this perspective and saying, hey, this is the best perspective. Okay, look at this, look at this, look at this. Buy into this, This beauty is causing you to look into this situation, look into the glory of God, whatever, all right? So that was the stained glass argument, okay? And so what I was trying to do is teach students that somebody is always trying to persuade you. And maybe the word persuasion and argument should be more interchangeably. And the way I teach a research paper is I don't want students to research tree hugging or research, quote, global warming, right? All those are huge, huge topics, and you can't say anything really informative about them. But you could argue something small. You could argue that something's happening to polar bears to cause them to congregate together, all right, in mass numbers, or the walruses to congregate in mass numbers. Or you could argue, some people say about global warming, oh, well, there are no weather records going way back. Well, I'm sorry. That's not a factual argument. There are weather records that go back centuries and centuries, thousands of years, because glaciers, like trees, have rings, and those rings record the atmospheric conditions year by year by year. And a scientist can break down those rings into the chemical components, and they can tell you which years had huge forest fires, which years had huge drought, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right? So there are all these focused arguments within a larger situation, and that's what I'm always trying to teach. Now, that said, with any kind of an argument, and it's not so much the format, and I think this class is meant to teach you a debate-type format, all right, and I think that's very useful. But you're not going to go out in the real world and do a lot of debating. But what you are going to go out and do, you're going to do this in business, in your life, in friendship, everything, is you're going to present a position, right, and your argument is that this is the best position. Take this position. It's the best one, all right? Back to the cannabis thing, right? But here's the bottom line. Nobody cares what your opinion is. And students have a really hard time with this. They're raised to think, oh, every opinion is valuable. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And most academics and most ethicists totally disagree with that not everybody's entitled to their own opinion, because opinions are valueless. Everybody has an opinion. So in the marketplace of ideas, opinions have no value. It's like if leaves are made out of gold, gold would have no value. There's so many leaves that come back every year. Gold would have no value if leaves are made out of gold. Okay, so the same way with opinions. There's so many opinions, they have no value. All right. What does have value is how you arrived at that opinion. How'd you get there? Okay, and what can you do to prove to other people that this is a terrific opinion? And yelling and shouting and screaming and saying, I'm going to build a wall, and Mexico's going to pay for it. We're going to cure the immigration crisis that way, or illegal, undocumented immigration crisis that way, by building a wall, making Mexicans pay for it. Like, duh. Have walls worked before? Ask the Romans in Great Britain. Did that keep the Vikings from crossing those walls? Right? What happened in East Berlin? Did that wall keep the communists in and the democracy lovers out? I don't think so. All right, and so it's how you get there that counts, and what you can do to bring all your evidence together and show it to someone that say, here's how I got where I am, and here are the other people that agree with me. Okay, here are the experts. Here are the people that have really, really, really looked into this, and here's what they say about that. So that's what happened in your paper. Yes, you had that lovely works cited list. You did a terrific job with that, okay? And you had all that research. I couldn't see it in the paper, all right? And I couldn't see the expert testimony. And then you came back and did that when I challenged you, okay? So it's going to be the same way tonight. I wanted you, and you did this very well in the paper, finally, right? You worked very hard on the opposing views. So any good argument, and Socrates says this, okay? This goes all the way back to the Greeks. Any good argument, okay, has to address the opposition, all right? Because the opposition knows they have valid points, all right? Go to the abortion thing. Who wants to kill babies, right? No one, right? That's not a good idea, right? But there are other. So if you're thinking abortion's, choice, right? Choice. If you think choice is a good idea, you have to at least address this idea about killing babies, okay? Or you can talk about science. There are other ways you can talk about these issues. So you show the opposition that, well, yeah, it's not nice to kill babies, okay? But who's going to feed them? Who's going to take care of them? Blah, blah, blah. And you can point out the number of adoptions don't meet the number of unwanted births, all that kind of stuff. So there are all kinds of arguments you can muster to address these other issues. So you have the pros, you have the cons. You can address both the pros and cons, and you can end up proving that the pros are a little bit better than the cons, that the pros outweigh the cons. Okay, it's hard to do like in an abortion debate because people take this moralistic views. You can't argue morals. Okay, there's no way around it. So that said, you always have to address the cons. You have to have evidence about the cons. Okay, and you have to acknowledge that the cons exist, acknowledge that it has some points, and then you prove that the cons do not weigh as much as the pros, okay? And you do that with research, you do that with evidence. So I think I've labored that point long enough. The other thing in your paper, okay, and here's what Socrates said, by the way, about writing or presenting an argument, okay? Start off real heavily with all the research, all the documentation, all the evidence that supports your point of view, okay? Then you go, on the other hand, some people think that, blah, 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 and this is why they think that, blah, blah, blah. Right, and you sandwich the on the other hand stuff in the middle, all right, where you kind of bury it in the middle. This is the Socrates format. Then the last third of the paper or so, you come back hard with more of your even better points that support your position, and then you go, despite these shortcomings, or despite these misgivings, or despite this evidence, there's other evidence that really supports that legalizing cannabis isn't really hurting anybody, okay, to any huge degree, all right. So I know tonight you're arguing the other position, which I really appreciate, by the way. I'm going to add those 10 points back in based on that, or 20 points back in, based on your willingness, not on the paper. I didn't want to read it twice, okay? I wanted you to get it right the first time. And I know students want pros to, blah, blah, look this over, have I done the right thing, that kind of thing. I don't want to do the work. It's up to you to do the work. I give you instructions on how to do the work. I said 5 pages, all of that, right? It's clear out and presented. Sample papers, the whole schmeal, okay? I had it all out there, right? The class was small, so peer review, one of the students was late, right, I understand that, so you didn't get enough time to look at each other's papers, and if you'd seen maybe a 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 page paper like yours, you would have said, oh, gee, that must be what Mr. Wallace expects. So, hey, hope this is a little bit helpful. I really, really enjoyed the dialogue. I didn't feel there you being argumentative. There's nothing to apologize for, okay? So, hey, stay in touch. I'm looking forward to reading the transcript tomorrow of the debate. Don't forget, please, to Control-A, get the whole transcript saved or selected, get it copied, get it pasted into a Word document, save it carefully with your name on it, okay? The only part of it I'm grading or judging is your part. The other 2 students have to do their part, okay? So please make sure, though, all of you save it into a Word document, because I've tested the chat room, and it seems to sometimes, on its own, save the dialogue, and at other times it doesn't, so we don't want that to happen. I'm expecting you to copy and paste the entire chat room dialogue into a Word document, save it, submit it to the assignment link, and then I can grade it tomorrow. So I'm really looking forward to this. So hey, I hope this has been helpful.